Hey everyone, welcome to the Single Player Experience Podcast, the premier podcast for single player gamers to find out about good single player games to play and to find out who is playing them. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we got us a dope guest today. Joining me is Michael Santiago, the premier gamer. He is everywhere all at once. You know, he's been exploring Disney World, he's been to PAX recently, he's been all over the place, but I was able to pinpoint him like Carmen Sandiego. I was able to pinpoint him on the map and like harness him down a little bit so we can have him on the show. So everyone give him a warm welcome. Michael, thank you for being on the Single Player Experience Podcast. How you doing today?
Thank you, Sebastion. I appreciate the intro. It's good to be with you again and doing another episode. I really enjoyed the first one, talking to you. So I was when you told me that you wanted to do more, I was like, I was ready for it and super excited, and I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, for sure. Glad to have you back. So for the people who don't know you, can you give us a little bit of background? What you've been playing lately?
Okay. So I just came back from Florida. I went
Mm-hmm.
to Disney World. So just starting to get back into gaming. Right now I'm trying to finish Hogwarts Legacy, which we talked about before I started recording. It's a dope game still. It's still up there as my, like, right now it's my game of the year, only
Whoa.
because the other games haven't come out, right?
Mm-hmm.
The big hitters, right? The Diablos, the Starfields, and maybe Final Fantasy. I'm a little worried about that. Zelda, all those big games. Right now, if the year ended, it's a Hogwarts Legacy for me. That's for sure. I'm playing that on PS5. Having so much fun with that. Um, yeah, and I went to PAX, and there was a few games that I'm looking forward to talking about. Letting the audience know, like, hey, look forward to these games. There's some good stuff out there.
Yeah, we're gonna have to dive into it during our pack segment of the show. But before we get to that, so you mentioned that Hogwarts Legacy is your game of the year so far. What have you played so far this year?
Oh man, so this year, the game before Hogwarts Legacy came out I would say a couple weeks before, was Hi-Fi Rush.
Mm-hmm.
Now that game right there, whew, if it wasn't for Hogwarts Legacy that came out a little bit after, that was that was that was the game right there. The art style, I loved everything about it. 10 out of 10. And for it to be like like their first, it's not a sequel, it's a new IP, a new idea. It has a little bit of like Dance of the Necromancer, has a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of like the rhythm type vibe. And it's just a simple third person action like adventure hitter action game.
Yeah.
But the rhythm, oh man, that game is unbelievable, man. I would love to just talk about it forever. Just the art style is incredible. So you have like a comic book style, like a cartoony anime almost art style, which is
Yeah.
amazing. Like, you could take screenshots of it and just use it as your wallpaper. That's how beautiful the game is. And then the way the combat works, you'd walk around the world, and when you're going to attack the enemy, you do it along with the music, the soundtrack of the game, and each level has a different different track. So you're fighting kind of differently in terms of the combos, and the combos have to match with the music, so you're in tune with that. And then the world itself, the level design of, like, everything feels alive with the music, down to the protagonist, where his chest is physically like connected to music, his heart. I mean, from the top down, that game is incredible, man. I can't wait as soon as I finish Hogwarts Legacy, because that's actually a big game. It's like
Mm-hmm.
meaty, right? So, but I'm trying this year to finish games that I start, so I might end up playing less, which is, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because I could play everything. You know what I mean? That's the problem. I could play everything, and then I know finish stuff. So this year I'm trying to finish things, just out of principle. I want to
Yeah.
finish. Because it at the end of the day, you don't have to finish a game to like it, to love it, to appreciate it, to review it, to give impressions, right? Because I'm not like a professional, I'm not like a journalist, so I don't need to finish the games like that. You know what I mean? Like, for example, like my game of all time, like my favorite game of all time, Skyrim. But I've never beat Skyrim.
At
I would
all?
always go, no, never seen the credits. So what I would do is I would get far and then I would stop playing, play something else, and then I would forget. And then I would go back and I'm like, it's been a while. So let me start new characters. And then
Hmm.
I'll start a new character just because you love the game so much. You don't mind starting from the beginning. You know how many times I've gone through that wagon as the prisoner in the beginning and you know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like, um, countless times, different characters,
Builds and
different types
stuff.
of different builds, where I'm trying assassin or mage, depending on the field too. Sometimes you just want to smash things, with a dual wielding, hammer or something like
Mhm.
that. So, it depends on your emotions and stuff too. So I played that game so many different times, different generations, right? That game came out and everything, right? That's one of the
Yeah.
jokes about it, but it hasn't. I've never finished it, so you don't have to beat games like that to appreciate them. So, but this year is just a 2023 thing. I'm like, hey, let me try to finish games. So to circle back around, I'm gonna finish Hogwarts Legacy, then go back to Hi-Fi Rush. I'm trying to think of other games I played this year to start the year. Also like I'm doing a little bit here and there of Xenoblade. Xenoblade is a long game. It's one of those games like, hey, I'm gonna beat it, but it's gonna take time. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
100 hours, especially when you're a new dad, is it's not easy anymore, man. It's
Nah, for
not.
sure not. For sure not.
It's not.
I understand. But yeah, like it's been a lot of games to come out this year. You were mentioned Hi-Fi Rush with Chai and 808. Well, it's
Hmm.
been very good. But the art style of like what is it, Jet Set Radio kind of meets like I would say Sunset Overdrive and Jet Set Radio art style. And I
Yeah.
yeah, that kind of vibe. I played and beat that one. That was really good. And then I think another one I did complete Hogwarts Legacy
Nice.
as well. I didn't do all the side stories.
Did you
Uh,
do the Sebastion one? The one
yeah,
where
mhm,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
I did that
So
one to completion. I am
were you the one where you were like oh let me get the spell, let me get the dark curse spell, or you like,
I
nah, I'm not gonna try to learn that.
I didn't do it until the very end. But like
Mhm,
here's it goes back to my big complaint about Hogwarts Legacy. It's like
mhm,
Hogwarts Legacy, I think, is a good game, but not a good IP game, if that makes sense. Like,
mhm,
I think this is a good video game, but I don't think this is a good Harry Potter game because, like, I
mhm.
feel like for you to be a good game that represents an IP, you have to follow the rules of that IP pretty well.
Right.
And so, like, as a Harry Potter fan, like, it sort of bugs me that we're able to do the unforgivable curses without any punishment because, like,
Mm,
it's well established in the books and the movies that if you do any of those, it's a one-way ticket to Azkaban,
yeah.
like a
Yeah.
one-way ticket. So it's like just uttering the words is an illegal act. And like even then, like when Moody, Professor Moody was showing them the curses
Yeah.
and everything like that, he even states that I had to go get a provisional license and from the Ministry of Magic just to show you these three curses. And
Right. Right.
yeah.
And there's a lot of weight to that
Mhm.
scene or the chapters in the book where Moody is showing them in the classroom to the spider like these three
Yeah.
different curses versus like yeah like that's one of the criticism of Hogwarts Legacy is like you could learn it if you want, you could do it if you want, then you could just go about your the rest of the day. That's one of the issues with video games in general.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like you could you can have all these side quests of just like, oh, save my kitty. But then you can have another quest where it's like, I need you to kill these 300 men. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's just like, okay, what's going on here? Like, you kind of have to take yourself a little bit out of it. And
Yeah.
like, and also like in Hogwarts Legacy, you're doing before you do any sort of curse, you're doing way worse stuff. I feel
Oh,
like
for sure, for
as the
sure.
good guy.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
I don't feel good at all in this game. You know what I
Mm-mm.
mean? There's one point where you learn a spell where you could turn them into a barrel,
And then throw
explosive
them.
barrel.
Yeah.
So you change that person's DNA. They're no longer them. Now they're explosive barrel that you could then toss it to his brethren. right? That they were just chatting it up 5 minutes ago before you show up, right? They were just talking about what they're gonna have for dinner and stuff like that. Next thing you know, you barge into the camp, you turn your buddy into a barrel, and you're like,
Hmm.
"What, Steve? What the?" And then he throws the barrel right at you, and you both explode to pieces.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to be the good curse. I mean, the good spell. Excuse me. Like,
Yeah.
what's going
Yeah.
on here?
It is one of those things too, and like I feel like good games where they represent their based on IPs. Like if you look at the Arkham games, like especially
Mhm.
like Arkham City, like everything makes sense in that universe. Like it
Yeah.
feels like a Batman game. It feels you don't see Batman running around killing people,
Mm.
intentionally, and then
Yes.
like and then if you look at the Spider-Man games, especially Spider-Man 2018 and then Spider-Man Miles Morales, like they even have a system to where when you knock someone off a building, like Peter automatically attaches
Yes.
a gadget to them and they swing upwards. It's like it respects the IP. So
Mhm.
like that to me is like a little bit of the problem with Hogwarts Legacy. Is like I think it's a fun game, but it feels like it's a Fable game. It doesn't feel like it's
Mm.
it feels like like it's a good representation of Hogwarts, but not necessarily the world that Hogwarts is in, you know?
Right. My only counter to that would be the world, like the world building environments
Hmm.
and the design there, I think is as good as you're ever gonna get to the IP.
Oh, for
Like
sure.
in terms of like if you go into Hogwarts and you walk around and you're in the staircase and all of a sudden Peeves comes
Mhm.
and he's sliding down the staircase and he's like whoop dee doo and all that, or if you're walking down the hallway and all of a sudden Peeves comes and he knocks this like random kid's books down and he's like, Peeves, man, I'm gonna be late for class now. Damn you. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like those little details, or like the armor suits that are just standing there, and then one like you pass by it all the time, you hear coughs or something every once in a while, and then just one time randomly you passing by and he knocks the other one down and beats him up
Mhm.
and does all this stuff, like all this like crazy magical stuff where the portraits actually come to life. It's not just like background stuff, which I find insane, like a crazy detail, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like to actually have moving portraits just like in the movies or in the books and stuff like that. um
You're
or if you
right.
go to Hogsmeade and you go to all the different stores, you have like the actual, like what's the one where like the tricks and stuff like that. You could go in
Oh,
there and
yeah.
yeah,
It's yeah, the trick shop.
the trick shop and stuff like
Mhm.
that. And you can see people outside of it every once in a while using some of the tricks that they bought, and it might like mess up on them, which would happen in the world and things like that. Like that's why I would give it credit. Like they put a lot of work into like that stuff. Like outside of it, in terms of the gameplay, like yeah, some of it isn't like what Harry Potter would do. Like they had to come up with like just random, like you hit R2 and then like these spells, like without saying anything. Like in Harry
Mhm.
Potter, everything is you say something for it to like come out. You know what I mean? Like it's a spell. Versus here, they had to come up with something where it's like you just R2, which is like you just shoot like just shoot something. So you could shoot rocks, minerals, and stuff like that, or you could attack the enemies until you're ready for an actual combo.
Yeah, you're
But
right.
yeah,
It's a good presentation overall. Like the
yeah,
game's presentation is phenomenal, absolutely
mhm,
phenomenal, and I think that's where they deserve all the credit. It's just like I just wish they kind of would stick a little bit more so to the rules of the
mhm,
lore, so to speak. But yeah, it's a good game. I don't think it's like a 8 out of 10 for me. I have it kind of on the 6 kind of bubble, but like I don't think it's a bad game at all. I do think in a stacked year, I wonder
mhm.
if it's going to be forgotten about though, because it is a stacked year.
It is a stacked year. I would say it will definitely be nominated for Game of the Year,
You think
but
so?
yeah, for sure, because it sold a lot too,
Mm-hmm.
along with the like initial like month long of hype and people posting on Twitter and talking about it and stuff like that. It went on for a little more than a month, and it made it sold a lot of units. So those two aspects I feel like would help it. Hi-Fi Rush, I feel like it might not. I hope it does, but I feel like if any of the games are gonna get like forgotten about, I would say it would be Hi-Fi Rush versus Hogwarts Legacy. the one for me, the one thing I'm thinking of is like Elden Ring. Elden Ring,
Hmm.
you could tell that was gonna win Game of the Year because it wasn't like 1 month and it's done. It started off by completely annihilating for Horizon, right?
Hmm.
Horizon was like, the talk of the town for like 2 seconds. Elden Ring came and it's just Horizon, what?
Yeah.
And then it wasn't a month. That thing was like 6 months. It was like a multiplayer game. People were helping each other. Communities were building just to help each other finish. Then you had the crazy let me solo her
Hmm.
became like this random guy became a gaming legend, right? So that those type of stories are like game of the year type stories. So Hogwarts Legacy, I feel like it had a little bit of it,
Yeah.
just because people enjoyed it so much and a little bit of controversy there, with JK and stuff like that. So I think that's gonna keep it in the whispers of game of the year time.
I think it'll be intriguing because I can see both of those games, Hi-Fi Rush and Hogwarts Legacy, at the end of the year getting nominated for like Adventure Game of the Year, like
Mhm.
the action. But on like that Game of the Year spot, considering I think they only had like 5 or 6,
Is it
like
really that little?
yeah, like if we're talking about the Game Awards and such like
Damn.
that,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
five or
That's
six.
what I'm thinking, like the Game Awards. Yeah.
Yeah, and if we're talking about the Game Awards, I think it was like 5 or 6 slots, and I'm like, that is going to be like, it's going to be hard to get in there because I'm like,
Mhm.
I think RE4 remake is probably going to, I think that's probably got a lot because I think that's 10 out of 10 for a lot of people.
Mhm.
I'm yeah, I'm hearing really good things about Diablo. I'm thinking Diablo is probably going to get in there.
Diablo, the beta was
Yeah.
incredible. It was.
Breath, like Tears of the Kingdom is probably going to be in there, and
That's
that's
a lock. That's like a Nintendo lock, right?
yeah, yeah,
So
for sure.
some games you don't even have to play, and you're like, okay, so what do we have
Hmm.
for game of the year so far? We have Tears of the Kingdom. Wait, what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Like that game didn't even come out yet. No, no, don't worry, don't worry.
It's
Tears of
already
the
there.
Kingdom.
Mhm.
We got Diablo probably. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
crazy. It's a
Yeah.
lock. It's a
And
lock as a
then
game
you
of the
got
year.
Spider-Man, and you got Spider-Man 2, and you got Starfield this year. If Starfield lives up to it. I'm like, that's already 5 slots. Some got to get knocked out at that point, you know?
Man, the more we think about it, the more I'm getting worried about Starfield, man.
Yeah. I
I'm getting
understand.
worried, man. Because all these games are coming out and they're coming out good, man.
Hmm.
Like no one would have thought Hogwarts Legacy was gonna be good like this. You know what I
No.
mean? So you have like, and that's not even your big hitter. So imagine the rest of the year. You know what I mean? Hi-Fi Rush came out and swinging crazy.
Hmm.
Then you have Diablo 4, which is gonna be a game changer. Then you have potentially Final Fantasy 16, which
Yep.
has a huge fan base, and Spider-Man 2. Oh man, the list goes on and on. Starfield, I'm nervous, man. It might be a good game, but in terms of winning game of the year, which so many people are expecting because it's Bethesda, like their new IP, it's
Hmm.
Todd Howard. There's so many things behind it. You know what I mean? It's Microsoft, it's the whole like this is their game. It's gonna be tough for them to win game of the year. And it's kind of sad like that the game got delayed.
Yeah.
Um because they really could have used like all that time because it's gonna be a big game. They could have used all that time for people to really experience the game, and then by the end of the year they're like, wow, at the end of the day, 100 hours plus, I've had so much fun with this game. Versus what, it comes out in September, then you have Spider-Man coming out soon. Wait,
Mhm.
isn't it like coming out? How
Yeah,
close is it coming out?
I think the rumored date, I think that was leaked by Tony Todd.
Mhm.
Is they're looking at the end of the September is what I'm.
Oof. So you
Yeah.
literally have a couple weeks for a 100-hour plus game,
Yeah.
right? That's what I'm saying. Like this is not good for Starfield because Spider-Man 2 could be, like you said, some games that are similar, right? Spider-Man 2 could be like Spider-Man 1, but the problem is that is almost a good thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Spider-Man was such a good game that if Starfield needs to come out swinging to trying to get a grand slam with nobody on base.
The crazy
That's the
thing
type of
is
feeling.
like the crazy thing is like we're talking about game of the year. Starfield might not even be the best Xbox game this year. Because I'm like, think
Mm.
about it like this: if it comes out and it's like a 7 out of 10, Like a lot of people got Hi-Fi Rush, a lot of and then
They
like
can't have that happen, man.
nah, and then Forza Motorsport is coming out later this year.
Yeah, well, I hope so.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
hope so.
I'm
It
like
has no date.
it might not even be the best like game on the console in its own
Man,
console this year.
do you know the type of like Twitter's gonna burn
Oh, for sure.
if Sony, like the ponies, if they get the
Hmm.
hands, they get their hands on a comparison of Hi-Fi Rush and Starfield reviews
Hmm.
and the Metacritic, and it's like lower than Hi-Fi Rush,
Oh,
man.
it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
It's almost a wrap for Xbox, man.
It
They
is.
can't have that happen. That's the problem, man. Hi-Fi Rush was such a solid, such a polished game. And then the problem with Bethesda is they're known to have buggy games on
Hmm.
release. So you have this game that's like, yeah, it's not the same size, but it's so polished. You know what I mean? It's so like perfectly designed. You know what I mean? Like it has to be. It has music that matches the gameplay and the combat. So it has to be like pitch perfect.
Hmm.
You have a game like that coming out of nowhere, scoring crazy nines, tens here and there. Starfield cannot come out with a 7.5. It's got to come out with like nine and up.
Yeah,
Got to
nine
come
and
out with
up.
9 and up.
Hmm.
And is that even possible? Is that even possible? If it was right now, if it was Skyrim that came out in 2023, would that be enough? Like, I don't even think so.
I
Because right
don't
now,
think so.
Skyrim's the top right now for me. It's the apex
Hmm.
for Bethesda for me. And if it came out right now, I don't think it would, especially the way it's like buggy and stuff
Hmm.
like that initially. It would get like an 8. It would get like a 7.58. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And man, makes me nervous, man.
I understand there's a lot riding on it, especially for Xbox. I mean, like the prince that was promised was supposed to be like Halo originally, and like
Mhm.
Halo came and went and didn't live up to expectations as far as like what we thought Halo should be and what it needed to be for Xbox in
Right,
general. And so
right.
like yeah, it all that adds more weight to Starfield because I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think Redfall is coming out the block swinging in a couple of weeks either.
Mm,
Like I think Redfall is going to come out and be maybe decent. I think a lot of people are just going to say this is Far Cry with vampires, and
right.
I think it's going to come and go. But I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I hope that's a dope game, but I don't think that's going to add to the portfolio of Xbox Game Pass like a lot of people hope it's going to. You know?
Yeah, I know. Um, we'll see. I have no idea how the game is gonna be. It looks okay. It looks
Hmm.
it looks good. I get a lot of like Left 4 Dead meets whatever, maybe a Far Cry, combo, which is not really my thing. The fact that it's on Game Pass is why I would play it. I would not buy it. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like I would not buy it, but I would play it on Game Pass because it's on Game Pass. Obviously, it's just a download. I like that it's multiplayer, you know what I mean? Like so, so you could come up with a squad and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like what was that game that came out that was Left 4 Dead?
Back for Blood.
Back for Blood. That
Hmm.
lasted like 2 days for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Same.
Like I don't want that for Redfall, but is that what's gonna, yeah, most likely.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? We just have to be honest. We've been playing games for many, many years. So you know what it is. And I feel like this is gonna be like you play it for a little bit. It was cool and stuff like that. And it's probably not gonna be enough. So which makes it worse for Bethesda in terms of Starfield and it has to hit. There's a lot of pressure there. A lot
Yeah,
of pressure.
and imagine this: like Redfall comes out May the 2nd,
Hmm.
10 days after. I mean, 10 days before Tears of the Kingdom. 10 days before Tears of the Kingdom.
That's how long that game's gonna last. That game's gonna last 10 days.
Yeah, ten
No
days.
one's gonna talk about it on May 11th. I could guarantee you that.
Hmm.
Nobody's gonna
Every
be talking about that.
no,
Well,
everyone's
you
gonna
know
be
what they're
ready
gonna
for
be
Tears
talking
of the
about? They're
Kingdom.
gonna be talking about Zelda,
Hmm.
right? They're gonna be talking about Zelda, and there's gonna be unboxings. There's gonna be all types of videos, reviews, and top 10 things to make was at the new Zelda thing, right? Because everything's about like you can make a boat with a fan and a couple pieces of wood. You put it together and you make a boat or something like that. You know, me personally, I'm not super excited for the Zelda. I gave the last one 10 out of 10. I
Mhm.
give Breath of the Wild a 10 out of 10. It was, oh man, I don't know if it's because the Switch is brand new and you got in your hands, you got this brand new system. I don't know what it was. Some people don't like the art style. I thought it was great at the
Yeah,
time. Now I feel like
it
the
looks
art style
rough.
has is looking rough. And I thank God I'm not the only one. Like
Mhm.
I'm looking at this trailer, I'm looking around to see if anybody see what I'm seeing. Like this does not look good.
Nah,
This it looks super bright and the color looks so watered down. Like what is going on here?
and it looks empty. Like
Yeah,
to me, I'm
again.
looking around, I'm like, I don't see anything in the world other than you, and maybe like if you look in the distance, you see
Yeah.
maybe like a couple of like those goblin looking things. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like,
Oh God.
this looks like a intro Switch game, and it also looks like a game that could run on the Wii U because it's the
Mhm.
exact same game except with slightly different mechanics, like
Right. They
it's
added a few things. Oh man, I'm so worried about this game. I don't I'm wondering why I thought the first one was so good. Was it because of it was a new system I'm playing on a Switch and it's brand new, it's a new experience? Probably that's probably why. At the end of the day,
yeah.
like it was a new experience. Like you Breath of the Wild was way different than any Zelda in the past.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Some people appreciated like me, I kind of appreciated the vast nothingness. You know what I mean? You could just explore, you could hear the wind, listen to music, you can make a weapon, whatever. Like no one likes the durability aspect of it, right? But you could cook stuff, you could look in the distance, like, oh, if you wanted to, you could go straight to the bad guy and beat him if with a wooden stick.
Mhm.
It may take you hours or whatever, but you could do it if you wanted to. That was intriguing. Now it's like, oh, you could do that, but you could also build stuff. I don't know. I don't know if I want that kind of experience again. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I
last
understand.
one was like 100 hours for me, so I don't know if I want 100 hours again of that with a little bit,
Just
extra mechanics.
yeah,
Mm,
if it'll feel like DLC to you, like
It does.
yeah, so I
That's
get
what it
it.
looks like.
Yeah, I get it. It's like I feel like there's gotta be more than what we've seen because if it's just what we've seen, I'm like you. Like to me, it like spoiler alert, everyone. Like Breath of the Wild wasn't a 10 out of 10 for me. Like I was
Mm,
it like I'm gonna be honest. Like I like worlds. I like open worlds where there's a whole lot in it and it doesn't feel
mhm.
empty. And I also like stories. Like I'm a big narrative guy, and
Right.
Zelda, like Breath of the Wild, and this is going to be one of the most hot takes you'll probably hear on the internet, is the exact same story as Avatar: The Last Airbender, but done worse. It really is. It's like the guy wakes up from a coma. 100 years have passed. He's got to go learn from all the different kinds of elements and talk to the different people and such like that.
Yeah.
That's the exact same thing as Avatar: The Last Airbender, but worse. So
Yeah, you're actually right, man. You are actually right on that. I never even thought about it like that. It's
yeah,
true.
I mean, he doesn't have to learn the elements of like fire, but like fire, wind, fire,
Yeah,
air. But he
but it's
learns
true.
like
There are like the bird, it represents like the
yeah,
wind and stuff like that.
mhm,
You have the mountains and you have those guys. I always forget their names.
the
The
guardians or
the
yeah,
guardian, the troll,
yeah.
rock troll guys. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Gorgons.
But you learn
Sometimes.
something from each of them. Like you
Mhm.
learn something from each of them versus in the same way you had to learn the elements in the Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Wow, I
It's the
can't believe that.
exact same
Has anybody
story.
made that comparison?
I
I've
don't
never
think
heard of
so.
that.
I don't think so. Like I
Yeah.
was I was going crazy because like I didn't realize this until like I was rewatching the Avatar: The Last Airbender stuff,
Mhm.
and then like I was sitting on the couch and I was just like, maybe I was wrong about Zelda all these years, and
Right.
so I picked it up, was playing it on the couch, and I'm like, I'm looking at this show and I'm playing this game at the exact same time, and I'm like, I think they're the exact same thing. I think I'm
Mm.
playing this game that I'm watching. Like
Yeah, yeah.
it's just like it feels like the exact same thing, except like I'm liking Aang and his story a lot more because it has more personality
Of
and the
course.
stories it has
There's
to
so many
tell.
people that like it. I love Avatar and,
Hmm.
and the fact that like I forget the guy's name. You probably might know him, the one that represents fire.
Zuko, right?
Zuko, yeah, I
Mhm.
love his story because he's almost like a bad guy. You know what I mean? Like he has that like inner like rage and stuff
He's
like
like their
that.
Vegeta.
Yeah, he's like the Vegeta, which is like a
Mhm.
classic character. You know what I mean? Of like the the um the like the dark good guy, you know what I mean? Like the
Mhm.
evil good guy. I love stories like that. I love stuff that I love like the what are they called?
The character
Like
development. Yeah. Mhm.
anti-heroes, right? They're doing good things, but they got a bad side to them, which is cool. You know what I mean? I love stuff like that. I love Avatar for sure. Yeah, I'm worried about Zelda, not in terms of the reviews. Talking about like I'm not gonna buy it.
Mhm.
I'm gonna wait, you know what I mean? Maybe rent it at my local library and stuff like that to check it out. But I know the reviews are gonna be high still just because of Zelda, which is kind of sucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I hate games that like you assume like you already know it's game of the year,
Mhm.
but no one even played it yet. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that kind of bothers me. You know what I mean? Like because then these companies they like their standards like they expect like less and less.
Mhm.
Like they expect to give less and less to the consumer and expect like for to always get the same praise. You know what I mean? Like and then they just like you're not gonna get innovation like that. You know what I
No.
mean? Like this should be the criticism should be like this is Zelda Breath of the Wild 1.5. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like this is DLC. That should be the criticism, right? Because it looks just like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I
I don't
understand.
know.
I
And
understand.
it's not getting much hate. I think a lot of people are afraid of Nintendo too. That's another thing. Like
There.
Nintendo is notorious for like going hard on these journalists or
Mhm.
websites for giving negative
Feedback or anything.
impressions.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah, there's it's life and there's emotions behind it. There's a lot of politicking in life as well. So there's a
Mhm.
lot of that. I also like we were talking about Redfall and our concerns for Redfall. Like I just realized I was thinking about that. I was just like before Redfall, another big game comes out, and it's a game that I'm probably going to be playing more so than Redfall, and that's like Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Like,
Yeah. Another for me, that's another like game of the year
yeah.
contender right there, man. The first one was so good, so polished.
Hmm.
So, you know, the combat was great, the story was great.
That comes out
Man, oh
4 days before Redfall. 4 days.
what? Oh, so you
Yeah.
got oh no. Oh no, my poor Redfall. Oh
so
no.
so
I feel bad.
so that comes out April the 20th, April 28th.
Uh-huh.
And then like so 4 days later, May 2nd is supposed to be Redfall. And then
Right.
10 days after that, May 12th is supposed to be Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
Right. So
So
you have oh yeah, yeah.
so it's sandwiched in between
So
those two
sandwich it
giants.
between two game of the year contenders.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
Redfall is not going to be game of the year contender.
No.
That's almost guaranteed, right? So if that's the case, ah man, yeah, it's a multiplayer game in between those because you got to give it some there's
Hmm.
some positivity there, right? You have single player, multiplayer, single player, right? You
Hmm.
could look at it like that. So Microsoft is like yeah, there's gonna be a lot of story. There's gonna be a lot going around before it comes out, and there's gonna be a lot going on 10 days after it comes out. But we have to see if we could get some like community involvement for the multiplayer stuff like that for those couple days. That way, yeah, they're gonna have Jedi and they're gonna have Zelda, but those are single player experiences. You might want to switch to multiplayer here and there, and here's your multiplayer, Redfall. So they really, if they're in terms of marketing, they have to push the multiplayer aspect of it. You know what I mean?
I was right there with you, and then I looked at my release date calendar right here, and I
Mhm.
happened to see that the Monster Hunter Rise DLC comes out on the 28th as well. So that's for a lot of people that's a multiplayer thing,
Yeah,
like
yeah, it is.
and then like Age of Wonders 4 comes out that same around that same time, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay,
Age of
so
Wonders or Age of Empires?
Age of Wonders 4.
Age of
Age of
Wonders.
yeah. Age of
Oh, okay.
Wonders is a it's a different type of game, but like
Mhm.
yeah, and I'm starting to think on like Yeez 9 comes out as around that time from as well, which
Mhm.
is like a big
Yeah, JRPG.
yeah, for sure, for sure. So I'm like you're starting to dwindle the fan base a little bit because not all those people are going to be playing those playing those type of games, but a little bit of people are going to be playing like that, like those types enough to like 10% might leave for that game, and then another 5% might leave for another game, and then you have another like 40% that might leave for the big two. So what are you left with? Is what my question. If you're Redfall,
If
push
I, if
this.
I if I was Microsoft, the answer would be push it.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to push this game,
To the summer, maybe, you
and
know?
they have an excuse right now. Maybe that's why they put the information out about 30 frames,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're saying, oh, this game's gonna be 30 frames. An update later will give you the 60, right? Okay, fine. Everyone's, oh man, I can't believe Microsoft did it, blah blah blah. Microsoft now could say, now they have a card that they could use. They could use the delayed card and say, we listen to community feedback. We understand you guys want 60 frames. So guess what? It was tough. We were in the boardroom. It was tough. And I fought hard for you guys. And guess what? I got it. The game's gonna be delayed until such and such, and we're gonna get you that 60 frames. Then they could look like the good guys, even though they knew they were sandwiched in between and they were screwed. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So that's their way out. I would go like, what's today? Is it like, I would go like on a Friday. I'll go what's tomorrow? I'll go Friday.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, this is how you guys are gonna start your weekend. Enjoy the games and stuff like that coming out this weekend. But just want to end the day by saying Redfall is not coming out until we pass the 60 frames. So we're gonna give it a couple weeks, maybe whatever, whenever it's done. That's their way out, man. Because you got July's wide open, right? You got
Nah,
July's wide open.
man, nah.
What's in July?
July's their best day, the best bet. But yeah, like, yeah, you're right. You're
I
right.
know Diablo's in June.
You're right, because July is probably their best bet. Because I'm looking at July is like just Pigmen, probably just
Mhm.
Pigmen and Legend of Heroes. So yeah, that's probably the best bet
So
because
I would hit that July 4th weekend, like that,
mhm.
like to give them that weekend to like play all the multiplayer. Everyone's gonna be off. You get all the multiplayer people, holiday, people are barbecuing. They're more chill, they're more lax, you know what I mean? And they're more accepting of like, man, let me play this game. I know it was delayed and blah blah blah, but it gave me my 60 frames. I got the burger in my hand. I'm good. Chilling with the barbecue now. I'm happy. Got the fireworks going on. Let me start this Redfall. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like
That's
that. I
what they
like that
need to
idea.
do, man. That's what they need to do. Get out of the sandwich. You do not want to be the baloney between Zelda and Jedi. I'm telling you, you do not want that, man.
You ain't even the bologna at that point. You basically like the pickle off to the side.
Yeah, you're like the lettuce that's like, they look
Mhm.
at it like, this got some brown in it anyway. I'm taking it out. So, and then smash. I don't need lettuce in my sandwich anyway.
I don't
Boom.
either. Yeah.
Damn, man.
So Mike, what is on your grill though? What would you be grilling on 4th of July?
4th of July, I feel like a cheeseburger is a must. Like
Okay, I feel you.
you gotta have a cheeseburger. You gotta have the hot dog, but not like a regular looking hot dog. You need it
Mhm.
burnt. You know what I
Okay,
mean? You
I
need
like
those
that.
hot dogs like, yeah, has some like
Mhm.
black on the edges and stuff like that. A little bit like, it looks like dry. It looks like it was sitting in the desert for like a couple days. You know what I mean? That's the type of hot dog I want.
Your hot dog look
Um,
like jerky, doesn't it?
yeah, I want I want hot jerky instead of hot dog. Okay, and those are the essentials. Honestly,
I
I'm
feel
not
you.
like a big, what I mean, like you do not have to put chicken out there. Like
You gonna put some ribs out there?
ribs would be nice, but my family doesn't really do ribs. I would
Oh, okay.
love ribs. You know what I mean? But my family's more of a hamburger, hot dog type of family. So,
Yeah, I feel you.
and then you got your sides. You gotta have your potato salad, right?
Hmm.
You gotta have for my family. You gotta have the arroz con gandules, which is like the rice and the beans and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So those are the essentials. You know what I mean? Pretty simple. What about you?
Yeah, about the same. About the same. I'm like, um, my wife's family is Hispanic as well, so they might do some elotes on the grill and such like that.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, so something to that nature. But yeah, it's about the same. We might throw in a couple of steaks on the grill or something like that, or maybe some ribs or something like that. So about that kind of same old vibe. But yeah, you're right though. That's a good day for Redfall. Be good and full. Like I'm probably less critical at that time frame,
Man,
enjoying my
I'm
long
telling you,
weekend.
man. I hope Microsoft's listening, man. If
Yeah.
they're smart, they'll be listening to the single player experience right now, and they're getting that for free. They're getting the best advice they can get for Redfall. Redfall is in trouble.
Yeah.
They have to know this. They have to know this. They have to be aware. And if they're not, then somebody's getting paid too much for whatever position they got to be making those decisions.
Yeah,
You
for
have to
sure.
delay this. You have your out. The community's already upset about 30 frames. Get the game past the 60 by delaying it. It saves them two ways. That's double. That's
And
double.
and even to sweeten the pot, like you can go find a third party like company, like say they do like ease or like maybe like the Lego 2K Drive game or something
Mhm.
like that, and say like, hey, we'll pay for you to be on Game Pass, and to make up that kind of like difference there. I'm like, just do a third party partnership, and you
I
can
mean,
say,
that's a
hey,
good idea too.
yeah, for sure, man. It's like, hey, we know you're missing out on Redfall. That like, we would love to give it to you, but like we're gonna delay that game. But as a special treat, we're gonna give you these two games on Game Pass day one. And since they're dropping this like, we can give you day
You know
one
what
on
they
that.
could do, which might be cheaper? They could put some like ABK game in there.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? They could put a Diablo 2 resurrected, get everyone's waters, their
Hmm.
beaks wet for the Diablo 4, you know what I mean? You could put something like that, or whatever ABK game they could pay whatever because it's their money at the end of the
Yeah,
day.
yeah, for
They're about to own it soon. So
yeah, for
the
sure.
money's just gonna come right back to them. That's what I would do. It's a cheap, like long term.
Hmm.
It's a cheaper way of doing it. You could get a game that's similar to Diablo. I would say get Diablo 2 resurrected in there. Maybe Diablo 3 for people that still love that, and
Hmm.
just say like, hey, here's a couple games to play in the meantime
Yeah, I
until
like that idea.
Redfall is patched,
You got
and
to do
then
something like that. Do some kind of PR move like that, you know?
no, for sure, for sure. Ah, man. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. So let's pivot. You and I went to a special conference not too
Mhm.
long ago, and it was PAX East. This was both of our first times attending PAX. I had a
Well,
really
actually, I
good.
went last year too.
Oh yeah, you went last week. My
Second
my
time.
bad, my bad. This is your second time. So yeah, my first time, your second time. How'd you feel about the show overall? The event overall?
It was great, man. It was great. I really wish New York, because I'm closer to New York City. I'm
Hmm.
4 hours away from Boston, so it's a bit of a drive. And you're not anywhere near, right?
No,
So,
I'm in deep in the heart of Texas. I'm in Dallas, Texas. So that was a
so
mean
yeah,
plane flight.
I know. So I don't know. Is there a Pack South?
There used to be a PAX
Oh, there
South
used
here
to
in
be.
Austin. I don't think they have that
Okay,
anymore,
okay.
but I think
I
they.
was gonna say there should be a PAX in Texas, and there should be a PAX in New York City. Even though it's
Hmm.
East, I think New York City is its own like beast, and
Hmm.
there's so many people there, and I really want the gaming industry to grow more in New York City. So I would love the Javits Center, which is kind of similar to what they have in Boston,
Hmm.
to have its own like PAX NYC or something like that, or PAX NY. Keep it simple. Um, and that I loved it. I thought PAX was great. I thought um I went there one day. I went there Thursday. It's like a 4-day thing, Thursday, Friday, Saturday,
Hmm.
Sunday. I went there Thursday, which is usually the quietest in terms of population and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure.
The lines weren't too crazy. There was one game that had me like in a line for like almost an hour, felt like, that we'll get into. Um but other than that, like it was chill. The vibe is great. A whole bunch, you meet a bunch of gamers and stuff like that. The setup is nice. You have a ton of games, ton of different developers and studios. Then you have a whole back section that's about board games and stuff like that. And then behind that is like a feels like 1,000 tables that
Hmm.
people could use to play these board games that they're just purchasing. It's a dope experience, man.
It really
What about
was.
you? What was your first PAX experience like?
Man, it was magical. It was a lot of a lot of walking, a lot of talking, but like it was very fun. I enjoyed the experience quite a bit. It was fun getting to meet and talk with different creators and different like media people as well. So
Mhm.
that like it as a networking experience was really fun.
Yeah.
But just getting to try out all these games and like put and like we play games all the time, but like it's kind of different when you have a face behind those games, when you actually see
Mhm.
some of the people who
Yeah.
are making them, and it kind
Yes.
of it humanizes games a little bit more, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, so it was one of those things to where it was like almost like a humanizing experience to where like it felt like you were meeting faces and meeting people and then like just seeing happiness all around you. It wasn't quite like, you went to Disneyland in the last month. It wasn't quite Disneyland magical, but it was
Right.
that sort of all good vibes where people were coming to celebrate some things that they loved. And I
Mhm.
love that. I really do. Yeah.
Yeah, I fell in love with PAX when I went. I felt, oh God, you feel like you're home when you're there with when you're surrounded by so many people that have the same interests as you.
Mhm.
It is like the best feeling in the world, really. It really is. And it makes me sad that something like E3's, is suffering the way it is, and when it should be the opposite. You know what I mean? Like we should have more of this stuff
Yeah.
in different cities, in like the big cities throughout the country. We should have more events like this to celebrate gaming because it's the best thing. You know what I mean? We both love gaming so much. And there's so many people out there that love gaming as well, that want to talk about it, experience it, and play games with the developers.
Mhm.
That's what's so great about PAX. When you play a game, you're playing a game next to the person that made it half the time, right?
Yeah.
And they're there to talk about not just the behind the scenes of what it takes to make a game, but you learn about what it takes to make a game, like how you can do it. These are just regular guys that just have the same passion of making a video game. And they teach you how it's done. They talk about the behind the scenes of like what this game is really about, or
Mhm.
or stuff like that, insights. It's great. It's really really good experience.
It really is dope. So, what was your highlights from PAX? What games really stood out to you?
So I made like a list of a few
Mhm.
games while I was there. I wanted to like highlight some of the good ones because last year it could be like overwhelming, right? There are so many games to play, and I would watch like Iron Lord podcast.
Mhm.
They would go to PAX and they would play so many games because there's a big team of them, and they will spread out and stuff like that, and or they'll have like a lot of interviews throughout the day, so they play a bunch of stuff. And you could go to PAX and not even see some of these games
Oh,
because
for
there's so
sure.
much to do, which is great. It's a great thing. So the games that I played, I wanted this year. I went last year. I played a bunch, and everything was all scattered. This year, I wanted to like play a bunch of games, but also like pinpoint which games kind of stood out. You know what I mean?
Mhm. That makes sense.
So I got a few. So the first one, I have two games, or I have a couple games that like have release dates, which is cool.
Mhm.
For those that like want to check it out. The first one doesn't yet. It's called Tempest Rising. It's an RTS.
Mhm.
I don't know if you got to play that. It's kind of like a Command and Conquer type thing, with like your typical RTS, like action war game. So it's like a PC game that you're just going about trying to kill the enemy. It's just a dope experience. RTSs have always been like that good feel good type of game of just creating units, you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
it could be a little stressful, you got to build this to do this, and do you have enough soldiers? My biggest thing is like, do I have enough? You know what I mean? Like I'm like, sometimes I feel super confident. I got 3 units of basic soldiers. I got a couple guys with like extra stuff, a grenader. I'm like, I'm ready. I got a tank. I go to the enemy, and they're like blah 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 blah, and they
Mhm.
wipe me out in like 2 seconds. No, you know what I mean? Like, and then not only do they wipe me out, then they march on to my side. Like, wait, hold on, let me rebuild. They're like, nah.
Mm-mm.
Nah, we don't we don't like that you attacked us. And then they start destroying my stuff. And then you get overwhelmed. Then all of a sudden you don't know how a mouse works. You're like, wait, how does this like what did I do? You know what I mean? You start panicking, trying to rebuild units and stuff like that. So RTSs have a place place to stay. Like it's thriving, which is good.
That's
So
something that threw me off too because I'm not a PC gamer. Like
mhm,
I'm always like if I play a game on PC, I'm always still playing with a controller. So like some of the
mhm,
games were throwing me off, like because I'm not used to
yeah.
mouse and keyboard at all. But like, yeah, that Tempest Rise was a dope one. I definitely have that on my list to check out.
Yeah, so the right now I don't know if you played it, the Age of Empires that came to Game Pass and on the consoles. It
Let
came out this
me.
year like a couple months ago, I think. So Age of Empire 2 came to
Mhm,
Xbox console. I played that with a controller, and it's actually really good to play with a controller. So it's like an RTS
mhm.
style, and you're like, instead of like mechs or soldiers, it's back in the day with like swords and shields and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
medieval.
Medieval time. Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. So that plays really well with a controller actually. So I would definitely tell you to like check it out in case you like have that itch for an RTS, you know what I mean?
I
I would
love them.
say
I love them. Yeah,
yeah, I would say check that out with the controller because they adapt because they put it on console, so they have to make it work with controllers at that point. And I think they did a great job with it. You know what I mean? So definitely check that out. The next one I would say is Toxic Crusaders, which is a beat 'em up. That I believe that was like an original, like older game. Because I was looking it up and I don't know if it was like NES days or it was just
hmm
like an older game. And now they brought it back, right? And so it's a beat 'em up with like these sewer type monsters, right? So you have one guy that's like green monster looking, and you have a few characters. My favorite was like this wolf
hmm
one, which is cool. His tongue is hanging out, he looks kind of crazy and stuff like that. It's just a fun beat 'em up, like similar to like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
Shredder's
that came
Revenge.
out,
Yeah.
Shredder's Revenge that came out last
hmm
year, which was at PAX too. And so it was a very similar vibe, like the booth in terms of
hmm
like the art style and stuff like that. I had a ton of fun with that. So that one does not have a date either. So the first two don't have dates
Their
so far,
booth was
but
really cool looking. The way they had like
yeah,
the barrels and the
yes,
slime and everything like that.
yeah. They had
Theirs
like
is
the
really
real
cool.
life-size barrels and stuff
hmm
like that. It was very, very cool. And that's another thing about PAX or these type of events. Like games get that extra hype when you have such great design on the booth and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like for me, last year it was Cult of the Lamb.
Oh,
Cult of the Lamb at PAX was insane. It was Devolver does their booths like so great. They even this year they had a good booth. They had like
hmm
almost like a movie theater style booth. It was
yeah.
really dope. But last year was Cult of the Lamb, and you had this giant TV, like this 80-inch 4K TV, and everyone's lined up to play it. I'm like, what game is that? And you see the lamb, and it's like, oh man, it's just this huge booth.
hmm
And this was before the game came out, and everyone was like, oh man, what game is that? So that ended up being like, a big release when it came out. And I don't know, maybe you go by the booth. If you see a nice looking booth,
Just go to
just
it, man.
just just be like, that game is gonna be something, right?
hmm
So the next one was Mado Anomalies. So that came out March 10th. So it's out already on PC. That one is like what I wrote down is like a persona with like detective aspects to it. So
I didn't
think
play
about
this one. This is the
did it?
one I didn't play. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying about PAX. It's like there's so many games out there. So this one had like a persona feel. So it was like third person and it had like that animes type feel, and you're walking around trying to solve like this case.
hmm
So you meet all these characters, and it's based in Japan. So you get like that real life aspect, and you feel like you're there in Tokyo or something like that. It's a pretty dope experience. That has like the combat is like Persona in that sense, where like You have like it's like the way the attacks you choose to attack or defend or blah blah blah, and then you get like these characters that could fight for you. So just like a persona, like you could fight, but also like these other things could fight as well, and give extra damage. So that was a good one. I would say check it out because it came out on March 10th for Steam and such like that. The next one, Alone in the Dark. Did you play that one? Alone in the Dark?
No, I didn't play that one either.
Oh man, so that was probably that side of the like packs, right? So Alone in the Dark is like a classic game franchise. Like the IP has been around for years,
Hmm.
right? So this one, it's like it's a third person horror kind of like mystery game where you're walking around in third person and you're trying to solve a mystery or whatever, and you're trying to survive the horrors of the environment. The environment was cool. It was very like old school, maybe like 1800s type vibe.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so and then you have like these creatures and stuff like that. You're going through this house and there's some like um some spooks and stuff like that, and that I thought the graphics looked pretty good. Um that doesn't have a date either, but look out for that.
Hmm.
Then I got two more. Um One this one is called Scars Above.
Oh, I played Scars Above. Hmm.
All right, cool, cool, cool. So that one's a third person shooter. It has like a sci-fi feel, like almost like a Prometheus alien type of vibe, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like it's you walk almost like and it looks a little bit like Eternal in that sense, where it has like that dark vibe with like creatures coming after you and you're shooting it down with a rifle and stuff. Pretty cool shooter, I thought. It came out February 28th, for those who want to check that out. And then for me, my favorite game of PAX, which I'm excited to play, it comes out May 23rd. Warhammer 40K bolt gun.
Oh, you're a Warhammer fan.
Yes, yes. Well,
Hmm.
yeah. Actually, I like it. I appreciate it from like the outside. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like I'm a little bit too like I didn't grow up with it, and I feel like the lore is so crazy, and like you got the board game, which is so expensive to get into. You know what I mean? So I would say I appreciate it from afar. You know what I mean? Like I like if I were to go into a 40K convention right now, I would feel
Hmm.
lost, right? Like I appreciate it, I love it. I don't really know much about it. You know what I mean? So
I'm right there with you. I'm very much lost.
yeah, yeah. So a couple years ago, there was a humble bundle of like the books. There were like a ton of like novels, like 30 different novels. That I was able to get that and read some of it. So it's a so this 40K bolt gun is like Doom meets Warhammer. It plays like the 1990s Doom too. So it looks just like it's a first person, like 1996 Doom style, except that you got Warhammer. And you got like the shotgun, and you're shooting monsters and stuff like that. And it's just a dope experience. That was my favorite game. It was like playing Doom again. It was just so much fun. And it's like you'd be surprised, like, man, that game is so old, but it's like one of those endless classics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ton of
Yeah.
fun. That comes out May 23rd. So I'm looking forward to that.
Do you have Game Pass right now?
Yes.
I got a recommendation for you based on what you
Okay.
just said. Play this game called Prodeus.
Prodeus.
Yeah, it's let me make sure I have it spelled
So
correctly.
Deus, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Proteus. Okay.
Uh-huh. It is on Game Pass right now. It is very much the exact same thing as what you just
Mhm.
described, Warhammer 4K bolt gun.
So
It's
like
like
a
it even
Doom.
yeah, it is very much that old school retro Doom, but like it feels kind of like Doom meets Halo, but it has Doom that old school Doom's art style.
Nice.
Yeah, and it is a very fun experience, very quick, very fast paced, and the story is like just basically the same thing as Dune. It's like you're
Mhm.
being invaded by all these demons and such like that. You have to take them out.
What?
Yeah, but yeah, the cool thing is like people create their own maps in the game as well. Like so like you can go in there
Mhm.
and you can find like you can play the levels that other people have created. Like I
That's
play
crazy.
yeah, like you could play a level where like someone like they built almost like Minecraftian in a way to where like they built like a restaurant and you have to go through the restaurant trying to take down the demons as well. So check
What?
out Proteus. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm definitely gonna check it out. I wrote down Proteus.
Uh-huh. It's on Game
Sweet.
Pass. It's on. I think it's cloud gaming as well. So if you want to check that out on your phone or something with
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, you can definitely
What?
do it as well. Uh-huh.
Nice, nice, nice. That's awesome, man.
Yeah. So yeah, think all these are really good recommendations.
So, okay, yeah, yeah, exactly. What about you? So, what game stood out for you? Because I know we came in it differently. Like I came in more consumer, you came more media, right? You came
Hmm.
more I wouldn't say business like, but more like a professional outlook. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like you,
yeah, for sure.
so what about you in that sense, looking at it through those lens? What kind of games or what kind of experiences? Because the game could have been but the maybe the developer or just like some sort of interview experience stood out for you
Yeah,
in PAX.
yeah, that's a good question and a good lead in, by the way. You're doing your thing over there, but like, yeah, it is one of those things to where like, yeah, you have like so many different people that you're meeting with, and so many different like appointments that you're going with. Like, I have in my hand like all these different cards and everything like that. Each one of these are like business cards. By the way, they're not.
Wow.
That's not playing cards. These are business cards,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like so like you're meeting different people. You're talking to them. You're like talking about the games, about like how like there's stories about the game and different things like that. Then you're some of them you're trying out, some of them they're basically like, hey, you can demo this in your own time, and they kind of give you a demo key and such like
Mhm.
that, or a review key and such. So like that's the kind of difference there is like sometimes you don't get to like try out stuff even though you like have made a time slot for it, but like you'll get to try it out at a later date, you know?
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's cool insight.
yeah, so that's a little bit of a different thing. And then they have like a lot of the booths or a lot of them a lot of the booths on the floor will have like a media kiosk, so
Mhm.
you can just go in there and play it. Like if you have an appointment slot, they usually leave those kiosks open for media members and such.
Gotcha, gotcha.
So you can immediately go in and get your impressions or like start your interview and all that kind of things. And then like on the
Mhm.
flip side though, like um yeah, meeting all these people and finding out about the inspiration behind the game. Like I said earlier, it hits a little different. Like it does,
Yeah.
it adds a human level to it. Like a guy was talking about like how he came up with this game and like how personal it is to him, and you can feel that emotion. You can like hear that emotion in his voice. You
Mhm.
can hear his like voice cracking as he's talking about something that's like
Yeah.
intimate, almost like a child to him. You know, like
Yes, yes. It's amazing. I love that. I've experienced this so many times in these like events. When you speak
mhm,
to the developers, that's it's their baby. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Like they're looking at it and they look at the game differently too. They don't look at it as like, oh, it's a first person shooter. They look at it as their child like walking, you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
across the
basically.
living room. Like
Mhm,
like anybody see a child walking through a living room, like that's it's just a kid walking around. But to a parent, that's
mhm.
like, oh my God, that's my baby walking around. You know what I mean? Like, I can't believe it. It's the same thing with developers, and you see them looking at their game through those lenses. It's beautiful, man.
Yeah, it's magic.
Really.
It really is. It really is magic. So it's like, and then like playing sometimes it's hard to play those games when they're like right there above your shoulder too, because like you're like you don't want to see like you've never played a video game before. So like you try
Yeah.
not to mess up quite extensively or anything like that. So and then like you don't want to you're not like there to give impressions or anything like that. So it's kind of like you're there hearing a story and they're doing like a back and forth interview, and then sometimes you play the game and sometimes you're just like talking to them one on one. So it's
Mhm.
or maybe like 3-on-1 in some cases where you're talking to a group of developers or
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so it is a little bit of a different experience because it's not like your experience. It sounds like you were going in and you're a pure consumer, you know, like on my side of things it was like, hey, like I am here, we'll make the connection first, and if we get to play the game, hoorah. If we don't, like, we'll get to play the game down the road. And like,
Right.
Yeah, it's that sort of that's the sort of different things there. But I did get to play a lot, and like and we like people in the media room were talking about like different games that kind of stood out to each one of us, and like there were some that really were universally loved to where like it had that buzz around it. It's almost like imagine if you were eating at Chili's and
Mhm.
you were eating at Chili's with all the people from like IGN and GameSpot and everything
Yeah.
like that on the day Hades or the day like Elden Ring came out, and all these
Right,
people
right,
got to play it for the same time, and
right,
then like you're hearing that buzz and everyone's talking about
right.
like different aspects of it. That's what it was kind of like. And there's a couple of games that kind of hit like that. There's like um there was Slay the Princess is one that really really
I didn't
had that
play that.
juice to it. It had that juice, it had that buzz. It felt like it like I kid you not, it felt like LeBron was stepping onto the court for the first time, and like I don't know if you're a big basketball person, but like there was like LeBron's first game, there was a mummer around because this was like a major high schooler stepping onto the court, and like ESPN and Sports
Yeah.
Illustrated at that time were like talking about like this could be the next Jordan, and so like when he stepped
Wow.
onto that court for the first time, there was a buzz in the air,
Yeah, yeah.
like, and
Dang.
this kind of felt like a little bit about like that. It felt like oh man, this game had a juice to it. It had like a
Mm.
buzz in the air where people were talking about like, hey, that first chapter of Slay the Princess though. Like,
Wow,
what'd you
really?
think? Yeah, like what'd you think? And then we were all comparing like notes, like what'd you do differently? Or
Mhm.
how did that first episode end for you? And then
Right.
and then to hear how that first episode ends and the way that episode like that chapter 2 begins, it almost felt like you remember did you ever get a chance to play Telltale: The Walking Dead?
Yes. Yes.
The first
The
season when
first
we
one for sure.
yeah. It almost felt kind of like the story feels kind of like that, except it's not a Telltale game. It is still like a almost like point and click, choose your own adventure, light RPG element, like different dramatic branching kind of narrative kind of game.
Mhm.
It feels like that, but in a psychological like thriller environment. And
Wow.
yeah, where yeah, that game has some juice to it. It's definitely not for kids. This is definitely an M-rated game, but like it had some buzz to it. And then there was another one, Mina the Hollower was another one that people were like, "Oh, this is the one that was promised." Like,
Mhm. Wow.
it's by Yacht Club Games. It is like
Okay, okay.
yeah, it's by Yacht Club Games. They've had quite a lineage, like lately they've been throwing out some bangers there, but
Mhm.
this had a little buzz too, and it has a little bit of a retro kind of almost like NES feel to it, but it feels like it
What?
could have been made by maybe Nintendo from back in the day. Like it has that kind of like
Wow.
feel to it. Yeah.
What's it called?
Mina the Hollower.
Nina the Hollower. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Like this is the like Yacht Club Games for people who don't know. Like they did the shovelware, like the Shovel
Shovel
Knight.
Knight. Yeah.
Yeah, the Shovel Knight series and such like that. So they
They're
they've got
really
a.
they're top they're top of the game when it comes to indies.
I would probably say at least top 10. Yeah, at least the top 10 in the
Mhm.
top 10 studios of indie developers right now. Like I would probably throw in I'd probably throw in Devolver Digital there as well.
Devolver's, yeah, Devolver's
Yeah.
probably number one for me.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah, yeah, Devolver, I just love their vibe. Like, not just the games, like you're saying, like some
Mhm.
things are past the games, like developers. I feel like I would love to work there. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's one of those like like the ads they do, just the fun they have. You know what I mean? Like they're one of the ones like during the summer or like E3 at
Mhm.
times and stuff like that. Like those are the developers looking forward to the most. You know what I mean? To see what kind of wacky things they're gonna talk about or do, say.
I understand. I'm right there with you. Like, I think
Yeah.
my number one right now is Supergiant, the team who did like Hades and Bastion and
Oh
Transistor and
yeah.
all that. Like, those are probably my number one indie developers. But like, Devolver Digital is like up there. They probably have one of my most anticipated games of the year this year, and that's like Gunbrella coming out.
Gunbrella.
Gunbrella, yeah, and
Oh,
it,
okay.
yeah, like oh, it's I got a little bit of a taste of that one, and that one, oh, I'm gonna have to play that day one.
Yeah.
It's got the juice. It's got the juice.
What?
Yeah, that
Man, I
one.
didn't see that either, man. Some of these bangers that I didn't see, man.
Yeah, there's
Mm.
some of them that are really good. Did you get to play Undisputed, the new boxing game?
Yes.
Yeah, that was fun. That was
That was fun. I was playing Muhammad Ali. I
yeah.
was, sticking and moving and stuff like
Mhm.
that. It felt good. Felt good.
Yeah, there's a lot of some really good games. I recently reviewed the what was it, the Mage Seeker, the League of Legends story. It was at PAX as
Mhm.
well, and it is from the same team who did it's from Digital Sun, who's the same team that did Moonlighter. Moonlighter is an
Oh,
indie
okay,
game.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Moonlighter is a really good indie game. It's currently on Game Pass right now, but like they did that game and it feels like Hades in a linear game. Like if they made a linear hallway story, like here's my pitch
Wow.
for the Maid Seeker. If Hades and old school retro God of War had a baby, it would be this
What?
game. Like it
What?
feels like Kratos, like God of War Kratos before the Norse saga, to where you were yeah, so to where you were
Wow.
going around killing like all the
Yeah,
Greek
yeah.
gods, like it feels like that game, except in a Hades kind of way in this kind of environment, in that
Mhm.
2D pixel art environment. And it's phenomenal. It's really good. Um,
Which
but
one is
yeah,
that? That's
that is the Mage Seeker, a League of Legends story.
Mage Seeker. Oh man, you're gonna have to send me this list, man.
Yeah,
It's
for
like a wish
sure.
list all of a sudden.
Yeah, for sure.
All
It's
these
a
games are looking really good.
There's some bangers out there. There's some bangers out there. But yeah, it's been a hell of a year in video games. And we still got like a lot coming on. I think like Strayed Lights is another game that a lot of people are probably going to be talking about at least a little bit over the next couple of days. It's going to get lost underneath the Zelda and Star Wars kind of like shadow, but like still it's a game that I feel like might be a super hit for indie game of the year as well. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of bangers out there. Like lot of bangers. This one, what like speaking of indie game of the year, these two wasn't at PAX, but like they were ones to keep your eyes on for the indie game of the year, and that's Dredge and that's DERDGE, and it's like you're just
Mhm.
that one's really good, really good. And then Have a Nice Death is like phenomenal. I love Have a Nice Death. It is
Yeah.
a
Have a
roguelike
nice
game.
death. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a roguelike game. It was on I believe like Nintendo Indie showcase not too long
Uh-huh.
ago, and it's
Oh, really?
really good.
Mm.
Yeah, it's really good as well.
Yeah, did you see the the indie direct that was today?
Yeah, today, yeah.
Yeah.
As of
Yeah.
this recording, everyone, we're recording on the 19th.
Yeah.
On April 19th, there was a Nintendo Indie Showcase today. It was decent. I didn't see anything that like was 10 out of
Stood
10
out.
for me, but like I'm gonna play more Cult of the Lamb, but because
Mhm.
they showed the new DLC for that. But like other than that, I'm like I'll play a lot of those games, but like none of them felt like oh I gotta stop everything and play this immediately. You know?
Which is kind of how it is for the indie stuff that Nintendo puts out. Like there's some stuff like, oh man, this is kind of cool to check out, but nothing that's like, whoa, I need to stop what I'm doing. Check this out right now. Especially this showcase had a lot of games that are not coming out anytime soon anyway.
hmm
You had like 6 months, 6 months down the line and stuff. Um, I think the what is that? The cooking one seemed kind of cool.
That one
Um,
it seems like Overcooked, but in a different kind of
yeah,
way. Uh-huh.
I was thinking it was like the same company because if not, then isn't that like a copyright? Like it was almost exactly what Overcooked is.
Mhm,
4 players, you're cooking, you're serving and stuff like that. The only difference is it takes it to the next level where you're actually setting up tables. You're setting up the restaurant, so you got tables and chairs and all this stuff, and then you have to like then you cook and serve and do the dishes kind of like an overcooked, which is still one of the like the best ways to end a relationship.
yeah. It really is, it really
You
is.
play you play that with your loved one, and then you're no longer loved ones.
Yeah, for real though. The game we're talking about right now is called Plate Up, by the way. Plate
Played
Up.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah, played up.
it arrives on Switch this October. It looks fun, but like you said, it seems like it's taking a little bit more of a holistic manager approach instead of
Hmm.
you just like serving everything. You kind of have to run the whole entire restaurant in the kitchen. So that one looks interesting. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. Well, did you have anything else besides that one that kind of stood out to you?
Um, Nah, not really. It wasn't like a great showcase in my opinion. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I've of course Cult of the Lamb, but I haven't even touched it yet. So I'm not even like thinking about DLC right now. Like again, I'm trying to like finish all these other games first. I still got to get to Cult of the Lamb. So I'm like behind. I'm way behind on stuff, which is a good thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And you still got a long list of games to play, so that's always
Mhm.
good. I'm gonna play Rift of the Necro Dancer because that's another one that they showed at this showcase
Yeah.
that was also at PAX East as well.
Yeah, it looks cool. Any
Mhm.
any any of those like rhythm type games.
Yeah,
After Hi-Fi Rush, I'm like, give me some more rhythm, man.
I love it.
Give me some, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like just it's like a game that hits your soul. You know what I mean?
It's a
It's just like
vibe, yeah.
it's a vibe. It's a
Yeah,
good vibe too.
it's a good vibe. So, what are the games you're gonna be playing for the next couple weeks?
Oh man, uh, so I go through like my consoles kind of like I try to switch in between them too.
Hmm.
So I got the PlayStation, the Xbox, the Switch, right? So I got Hogwarts Legacy on PS5. Um, then I think I'm gonna dust off my Xbox, right? Because it's been a minute. I have I got some couple like Game Pass games to look at. I got Hi-Fi Rush. It's probably gonna be the first one I play on Xbox to finish that. Um, the Switch again. I have Cult of the Lamb, but I also have to
Xenoblade, right?
do a little bit more to Xenoblade. I gotta work on that a little bit. Um, man, there's so many games, man. The Game Pass has so much too. Like I haven't even touched the Persona stuff that came on Game Pass.
Hmm.
So like Persona 3, 4, Golden. Oh man, I'm missing out on so much stuff, so many experiences. Um what else? You got Redfall. I'm looking forward to Redfall only because
Hmm.
it's different. You know what I mean? There's certain games like I didn't get to this year because I've already played them, so there's no rush for it. Like Dead Space,
Hmm.
the Dead Space remake, I didn't play yet. Resident Evil 4, I didn't play yet, only because I played that multiple times. So there's no rush for it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I'll get to it eventually. Um, so I'm gonna be getting back into Game Pass. Uh, and then in June you got Diablo. Um, so we'll see. What Jedi? I might check out Jedi
yeah, that looks fun.
Survivor. Oof.
Yeah,
First one was good, man. First one
that
was
looks
good.
fun. I'm excited for that one.
And I'm a huge Star Wars guy, so I might be playing Jedi. So when that comes out, when does that come out? April 20
April
something.
28th, I want to say.
Yeah, that's right around the corner. So
Yeah, for sure.
man, yeah. So the next couple weeks I'm gonna be pretty busy with some games, man. What about you?
Yeah, I'll be playing Jedi Survivor. I'll be playing a little WWE 2K23. I've been
Oh,
hooked on
nice.
that like crack lately, so I've been playing. I'll play
Are
a little
you
bit of that.
you got a character? You create your own
Oh
character?
yeah, I create my own character. I got like the
Do you use like
SmackDown.
the photo? I mean, do you like the
Nah,
make it
I
look
can't do
like you?
that. Nah, I can't do that. It always looks weird. I got this little peanut head, man, that never works well. So never works well. So I always have to kind of like take my own kind of liberties and kind of
Yeah,
create my
yeah.
own from scratch. So
That's
yeah,
good. It's all good.
yeah. So if
Yeah, that you know what? I saw a little bit of WrestleMania. It was a 2-day event this
hmm.
year, and I haven't seen wrestling in like I don't know 20 years maybe. Like
Hmm.
back in like Stone Cold and The
In the
Rock.
Rocks era,
Yeah, that was what 20 years ago probably.
yeah,
Just time is flying, man.
it
So
really
I
is.
haven't seen wrestling in so long, and I watched it. And I had a ton of fun, man.
It's a good time right now. It's a good time to get
Yeah,
back into it. It really is.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a good
That's
time.
good, man. So anyone who's listening out there like me that is like hasn't been on
Hmm.
wrestling in a while, like fell off, and me, I'm the type that like I used to watch with my grandmother when I was a
Hmm.
baby and a
Same man.
kid. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So every time the good person went, my grandmother screamed, "Yeah!" I mean, and yeah, it's just wrestling was it's just so much fun back then. I had that phase where I was like, "It's real," and
Hmm.
you're a
You
kid.
would die for it, basically.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
swear it's
It's
real. You're gonna
not
have to
fake.
see
And
me.
my father's like, come
Yeah.
on. It's he's trying to like pop my bubble. He's
Hmm.
like it's like it's scripted, we
Hmm.
really know who's gonna win and stuff. But I mean, even if you know, like it's still fun. Like in
Yeah, for sure.
WrestleMania, like who is it? What's that? The pop star celebrity guy.
Oh, Logan Paul.
Yes, yes.
Logan
Like
Paul. Yeah.
he was gonna lose, right?
Yeah.
But the way they went back and
Hmm.
forth, like there's adrenaline that's kicking in, dopamine hit. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
you're still having fun, whether you know what's gonna happen or not. Like
It's the
I had
journey more so than it is the end result.
right, right.
Hmm.
And at the end of the day, like people, like Shane McMahon did get hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, like certain things can happen, like people do get hurt, even though it's it's quote unquote
Hmm.
fake, you know what I mean? Like it's still in the athletic thing. It's almost like the circus, you know what I mean? Like people could get hurt, but they're professionals and they're doing stuff that's yeah, it could be scripted, but so what? It still could something can happen, you know what I mean? Like it's still entertaining at the end
Hmm.
of the day. Like that's why it used to be WWE, like World Wrestling Entertainment. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like I thought it was cool, and I might get back into it, which
It's
is
fun.
kind of exciting.
It's a fun time right now. It's a fun time, especially with Triple H kind of leading creative. It's like
Yeah.
his new spin on it. It feels like a new era. So yeah, it's a fun it's been a
Hunter
fun
Hearst
time.
Helmsley, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
Remember that
Yep.
with
See,
his
you
with his
remember with
yeah,
the
yeah,
little
of course. He
ponytail
used
and
to
everything.
oh
Uh-huh.
I used to hate him. He would
Yeah.
come in all like just boo him,
Yeah,
boo, all
exactly.
like man, confidence 1,000%. Man.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wrestling's cool, man. Wrestling's cool, man.
Yeah, it's fun. And then the WWE game is pretty fun as well. Like if it feels better than it has in a really long time. It feels like they're moving towards like a a premium product. I will say that. Like it's not necessarily like I think there's still a lot of room for improvement, but it does feel like they're moving towards a premium product here.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah, yeah. Like in a way that like NBA 2K, if it didn't have microtransactions and stuff like that, it would be
Mhm.
like probably the most premium, high polished sports game in the world that didn't have any problems. So like nobody
Wow.
talks bad about NBA 2K other than the microtransactions.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
this kind of feels like it's getting to that level now, and
Wow.
that's yeah, I think that's high praise. Like, but
Does it have like a story mode in it?
yeah, for sure. It has like a career mode that you can like you can create your guy, you can follow a career path and all that kind of stuff. So
Wow,
yeah,
that's
I would
cool.
definitely recommend it. Like for in your case though, I'd recommend like as a lapsed kind of like WWE fan and such like that, I'd recommend just waiting for a sale because like by like 4 months time, this is gonna be half off, guaranteed.
Yeah.
So
Is
I
it that different from last year's? Because last year had a buzz of it being like
yeah,
pretty good too.
yeah, I would probably say like I would probably say it's point 0.5. Like it feels like it doesn't feel like and point 0.5 what I mean by like it doesn't feel like it's necessarily like the next game. It feels like a point 0.5. Like they made all the improvements that you wanted to see from last year's game.
Okay.
Yeah, but like besides improvement of roster, they did add like stamina and such like that. That kind of makes it feel like it's a slugfest. Like you
Hmm.
actually feel tired when like your character feels tired and such like that. Adds a whole new dynamic and layer to it. So like it does feel like there are certain nuances that you that they does like that this year's does have that like people
Hmm.
who didn't necessarily like who's not played like in depth from last year like they probably won't notice that though because it's so small. Like they'll probably
Hmm.
say, "Oh, well, like I'm 10 minutes into the match and my character's move is sluggish. Like this game feels slow, like, but there's a reason for that. You're 10 minutes, you can see your character perspirating and sweating a lot more. So
Wow.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's little nuances
Yeah, yeah.
that I feel like if you're like really into it, you notice and you appreciate more. So
That's exciting stuff, man. Especially when I got that little taste during WrestleMania. I'm
yeah,
like, wow, wrestling is pretty fun still.
yeah,
So
yeah,
the final question. So like well actually two questions.
yeah. Go ahead.
So when you do career mode stuff like that, it's against like the current players, or do you play or do you fight against like the older wrestlers as
A
well?
little
Or
mix. It's mostly the current roster,
okay,
yes,
okay.
but like
That makes sense.
they do have a little throwback like Easter egg moments, but for the most part, you're always facing against like
Okay.
current roster of people. Yeah.
But if you wanted to, you could like do an exhibition that's not career mode and play like
Oh yeah,
Stone
against all the
Cold versus The
legends. Yeah.
Rock and stuff like that.
Yeah, all the
That's
legends.
pretty
Like,
cool.
yeah, and even then they have like a management aspect mode to where you can kind of manage your own show and like from
Oh,
that one's really good.
that's
That to me
cool.
is where you kind of get your bang for your buck there. Like
Yeah.
it turns like a 10-hour experience into a 60-hour experience easy because it's like that is one of those like podcast kind of mode to where like you can get mindlessly lost into that kind of thing and
Right.
then just turn on a podcast and just lose a whole day to it.
hmm
That's to me is like where the real bang for the buck of this game comes from.
And so haven't played in so long a wrestling game. So what
Mhm.
is like the combat like? Is it like an easy way to pick up and play, or do you have to like learn the mechanics and stuff like that? And it might take you some time.
It's a mixture. I would say it's right in between those two descriptions that what you just said. Like
hmm
there is a learning curve to it, but I feel like it is more pick up and play than what it was when 2K was doing it back in the 2010s. Like
hmm
now it feels like it's a combo based system to where like you can kind of like do let's just use an example of like square 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 X and I'm talking about the PlayStation side of things of course, but like if you
hmm
do that it's a light attack light attack light attack and then a heavy strike, and you can kind of see how like different people like Rey Mysterio, a superstar you probably know from back in the day,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
he'll do like a punch, a chop, a kick, a like a low kick, and then he'll probably do like a Hurricane Rana at the end. And like that kind of movement, it takes a little bit to learn those types of nuances and like those type of
Mhm.
combos, but like it feels like easy enough to where like, oh, like you do that for about 5 minutes. Okay, I now know how like I can do that combo for every single wrestler going forward, you know?
Right.
Even though they may have different like end results and different like outcomes. It's not a Hurricane Rana for everybody, but like I now know that combo translates across the board. So
Oh, cool.
yeah, so it has a little bit more of a pick up and play factor to it.
hmm
Like I would say if you and I were playing on the couch right now, like in an hour's time, you'd be proficient enough to where you'd be like, okay, like you can take the kid gloves off, like
Right, right.
yeah, you know, or like you would be like, say, if you and I were playing on the couch and I went to go like get some burgers off the grill and such like that, you'd play against the computer and you'd be like, oh, I'm waxing the computer at this point, you know.
hmm
So I think it's that level of pick up and play friendly.
Cool, cool, cool. And have you tried it online?
I have not.
Oh, okay.
I'm usually like a single player kind of guy, so like
Mhm.
I mostly do stick to the single player modes, especially in sports simulators. Like I'm a 2K guy. I'll play the Madden games. MLB the show is on Game Pass
Game
recently.
Pass.
I've been diving into a little bit of that, and
Mhm.
I've I probably should try the online modes, but I've always stuck to like the single player or the career modes because I kind of want to see what it's like. And also, I don't like waiting for matches, so I'm like that.
Yeah,
That's kind of like my personality there.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, so like
Okay.
yeah, those are the kind of things I usually lean towards when I'm playing like a sports sim kind of game.
hmm
Yeah,
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool. I definitely want to check it out. Probably when it's on sale.
I would advise that.
But
Yeah.
I said that last year too. So I got to figure out like how I'm gonna get this because I would say like this year I'm a little bit more excited
Mhm.
and more like tempted to play, which is good. So I definitely want to check it out for
I would
sure.
say by August is like that prime pick up and play time. Or if you waited that long, there's also like Black Friday when this is probably gonna be like $20 is like a
Mhm.
good marker as well. Like
Yeah.
and then I believe like the older adaptation, like I think it's 2022 is on like PlayStation Plus Extra, like so
Oh
like
wow.
you can kind of try it out. So like that sort of thing is like little like avenues I'd look for as a if you just wanted to play while waiting. But like there's
Mhm.
another game called WrestleQuest. It's an arcadey game that was at PAX East, and it's more like
Yeah.
yeah, and they had the
I
big
didn't
wrestling
play it, but
ring.
I
Yeah.
saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, they had the big wrestling ring there at PAX. I'm like,
Right.
that's a fun experience, and I think that's coming out like in a couple months as well.
So yeah, it has like that old school type of wrestling
Yeah. Yeah.
Like SNES, I think
It's
style. Yeah.
it's SNES, but it's a turn-based style. So it mixes that all those nuances of like you are still performing those moves, but in almost like a old school Final Fantasy way, to where like you'll have like a drop down menu and it has like heavy attack or run the rope strike,
Hmm.
and or it'll have like you knock somebody down and you knock somebody down this go around, so like you get an extra move, and then that extra move you can climb up to the top rope and jump off or something like that,
That's pretty cool.
yeah, so like it has little things like that, so like if you're an RPG player, it mixes those two elements in really well.
That's really cool because when you think about wrestling, you like it definitely has some RPG
Hmm.
elements to it, especially when like you're a new wrestler, you're on the come up,
Yeah.
and you level up as you start winning matches and stuff like that, and then you get to the top, and then you got to beat the big boss, which is in the main event and whatever pay-per-view and stuff like
Hmm.
that. So definitely some RPG elements in wrestling. So it's cool that they found a video game way to bring that out. That's
Yeah,
pretty
for
cool.
sure. And then like they have some real life in like people in there, even though they're not licensed by like WWE or anything like that. They do have some like real life licenses for wrestlers from back in the day, such as like Andre the Giant is in this game. Like you have Ric Flair in this game as well. So like
Wow.
different people like in the old school era of wrestling. It's like it's almost like a paying a love letter to like wrestling's like past
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well. So like yeah, it's a really cool element. Before we go though, I got to say it's been really cool having you on the show, Michael.
Yeah, it
We've been
was my
talking.
pleasure.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot, and I've been loving every second of it. But before we go though, where can the good people find you?
Oh, you could find me mainly on Twitter. That's where I am when it comes to the gaming community. Tune underscore medic.
Hmm.
That's TON_MEDIC. I'm on there, talking about games. I share whatever screenshots or videos sometimes of things that I'm playing, and I love talking to the community. Yeah, that's basically the main place you can find me. I'm on some discords here and there. The biggest one is the gamer tag radio one is pretty dope community. So I'm there if you want to chat over there as well. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Last question of the show. This show is all about video game recommendations. We recommend single player games to other people. What is your video game recommendation for this episode?
Oh man, that's a easy one. That's the one we basically started with. That's gonna be Hogwarts Legacy.
Hogwarts Legacy. What
Hogwarts
house are you in?
Legacy is, yeah, you definitely want to check that out. It's got its problems, like Sebastian was saying, with the world, and like some of it is like a little bit like not on par with the IP, but there's if you do like Harry Potter, this is your game right here. They put so much into this game. It's like every time you play it, there's more and more of the world. There's so much detail in it. You know what I mean? Like, it's so much fun. It's a great single player experience, and there's a lot there. You're gonna get a lot for your money. And yeah, I love it. The combat is great. The it just feels good to play. It looks pretty, and the world is unbelievable. And enjoy it.
All right, all right. So, everyone, his suggestion is Hogwarts Legacy. Definitely go check that out. What house are you in the game?
Oh, that Gryffindor. Gryffindor.
Gryffindor. I'm
Hmm.
surprised. I'm
Yeah,
surprised.
yeah, yeah. What about you? I forgot
Oh
to
man, I'm in
ask.
the loyal house of Hufflepuff.
Wow, my
Yeah.
wife is Hufflepuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. She has good taste.
Yeah,
She has good taste.
the yellow and black,
Yeah,
black
for
and yellow,
sure.
black and yellow.
Yeah, exactly. Like we was back in the day.
That's
Was
cool, man. It's so when did you have like a certain because I know one of the houses you get to go to Azkaban. Was it
that's Hufflepuff only.
what?
That's only Hufflepuff. Yeah.
So you got to go there in the beginning of the game, or
Yeah, I mean it's closer towards like the 10-hour marker, but I mean
oh,
it's so
as like a mission, I guess?
yeah, it's a side mission, and it's not as big a deal as like people make it out to be, but like you do get to go there, like you question someone. I'm not gonna spoil like the whole mission plot, but like
Mhm.
you question someone and then you just leave. Like you don't actually get to roam around Azkaban or anything like that.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's not like Azkaban, it's not like they did like the whole thing of Azkaban. It's basically like one hallway and a cutscene, and you're out of Azkaban. And then,
Okay, yeah, in
yeah,
and out. Okay.
yeah. I'm like, you do get to see some Dementors, but like
Oh,
that's,
okay. That's
yeah,
pretty
but
cool.
that's it. Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
I didn't see no Dementors.
I almost wish you would have got to like face the Dementors though. Like, but
Oh
then,
yeah,
yeah,
like a
but
Patronus.
yeah, that would have been so dope.
That's one of my favorite parts in the whole series, man.
Mm-hmm.
When he screams, "I expect a
Don't Patrono.
Patronus."
Yeah. Yeah, that I'm right there with you. And like the fact that that's missing feels like just a missed opportunity. So like,
Mhm.
yeah, I wish that was like I wish that was a part of it. But alas, it's unfortunately it's not. But like, yeah, it was just a small little experience. It's nothing like super major. You really didn't miss out on a whole lot. But if you
Mhm.
wanted to restart the game just to like do that one part, like I'd understand. But you're not
Yeah,
yeah. But I mean, I know like I think to get the platinum, you do have to like at least start the game as all four houses. So
really.
yeah, I've seen some people like go back and just start the game, and I think they do like the first hour for each house, and you'll at least get that trophy.
Oh wow. Okay, good to know because I would like to platinum that game.
Hmm.
I'm not normally a big platinum guy, but this game is just one of those games where you just feel like you want to do everything you can. Like that game was it for me so far this year. Like it was a game where like you want to complete it, you want to enjoy as much out of it, you want to squeeze as much of the experience of that game as much as you can, which is very very unexpected. I was not expecting that
That's great
when
because
that game came out.
I was one of those people who like I was doing everything and then I got tired. I got burnt out real hard. And so like I after I got burned out, I was just like I'm mainlining this now. And it got to I think I got to I want to say around level 39, I think level
Mhm.
39 and then I started mainlining everything. And
And
after
you
I
just crucioing everybody, right? You just
what's
like
so bad about it?
crucio.
I was like, nah, I'm still not gonna use that curse. But it was like, yeah, it was a little harder because I was so stubborn about not using unforgivable curses.
Yeah. Although one could argue every single spell you're doing
It's unforgivable,
is
basically.
unforgivable.
Yeah, you still murking people. I'm like, at what point do you just
Yeah,
like,
you could argue your character should be in Azkaban like within like 3 hours of the game.
oh, for sure, easy money for sure. You,
Yeah,
Sebastian, and all your little friends should just be an
yeah,
Azkaban, basically.
yeah, for real. Not to mention the magics. When you get that magic power and you could just turn someone into a chicken. With
Hmm.
the L1R, like you just change them to an animal. My God.
You know what this makes me like, and not to just super dive into Hogwarts Legacy, but this makes me feel like this could be a very good sample size for what Fable, the next Fable game could be like.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least like look like and feel like as far
Mhm.
as like the presentation of it, because they're very similar games if you think about it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I'm really excited for Fable. I loved the trilogy, the original. I loved growing up with the character. I hope they do that here too. Like I would love to start as a kid and just do things and then just keep it the same. You know what I mean? Like you could either be good, you could be bad. You know what I mean? And you start as a
Mhm.
child and you work your way up, and the village is yours. You know the neighbors. You grew up with the neighbors, and then you could decide like what kind of person you're gonna be. Like, man, that's so exciting. Of a gameplay mechanic that we need more of. I feel like they need more of that RPG element of like growing up. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
for sure.
Developing, not just developing skills, developing as a character physically.
Yeah, for sure. I'm right there with you. I'm
Mhm.
right there with you. Well, Michael, we've been talking a lot, and I know you probably got to eat some dinner because I know my stomach's I know my stomach's growling. So,
Oh yeah.
anyways, Thank you so much for being on the show today. We're gonna have you back real soon. As soon as you're available, man. I'm down to just nerd out like this all the time. So like
Okay, cool,
let
cool,
me
cool.
let me know and we'll have you on the show all the time. We'll talk about the games that we're playing in the news and whatnot. So everyone be on the lookout for that. Until next time, I've been Sebastian, that's been Michael, and we're out. Peace.
Peace.
Hey, thank you so much for watching the video. If you liked the video, hit that like button. Also, for more videos just like this one, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right here. Thanks again for watching the video, and for more like it, stay right here at the Pro Nerd Report channel. So that's a wrap for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit that like button. Also hit the subscribe button for more videos just like this one. I also want to let you know about the single player experience Discord server. It's a perfect place for single player gamers to talk about the good single player games that they've been playing lately and to get video game recommendations. Think of it kind of like a book club for single player gamers. The link to join will be in the description. Once you're in, feel free to share your video game backlog list, talk about the good single player games you've been playing, or give your feedback on the show. If you have a game you think it should be recommended and should be reviewed, let me know about it right there. Before we go, I just want to thank you once again for listening to today's episode. Stay safe, stay gaming, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Peace.